Hi everyone, thanks for joining me and welcome. I trust you're all doing well. Today I'm going to tell you a spooky story because it's October 1st. I love sharing the stories. The one I'm going to tell today took place at Inchmahome Priory on the island of Inchmahome on the Lake of Menteith in Scotland. The priory was founded in around 1238 for some Augustinians. Robert the Bruce is known to have visited the island, as is Mary Queen of Scots and her mother, who took refuge there in 1547 for only about 3 weeks after the Battle of Pinkie during the rough wooing. The night before the experience, my husband and I were in Callander, and our B&B host told us about the priory, and it had not been on our radar, and we were immediately keen to visit. We were told that when we arrived at the dock that there would be a little flag, a little white flag that we would flip up, and the ferry operator would see that and come and pick us up. The visitor center on the island was closed, so we immediately went to explore the ruins of the priory, which included a church and a chapter house and a kitchen, and if I remember correctly, some living quarters. It was all, of course, very interesting, and I particularly enjoyed seeing the stone slabs that were grave effigies. They were kept in the chapter house for safekeeping. They originally were in the church, and I believe the bodies are still in the church grounds. And after a while, we decided to go for a walk through the woods, and there was a well-marked trail. But first, when we left the chapter house, we walked across a field, and I'll insert a picture here. I stopped to take some photos, and the chapter house is that building with the distinct peaked roof. My husband carried on into the woods, and after I was done, I headed down the trail myself, and after just a few feet, I hit a wall. I felt a sudden and very distinct pressure on my chest. It was strong, and I found it quite alarming because I thought there was something going on with my heart. I stopped for a moment, but I carried on and felt very much like I was pushing through a very dense energy. After a few more steps, the feeling lifted, and I carried on to meet my husband, who had stopped to wait for me. And when I got to him, I told him that I had experienced something very strange, and he said, hang on, I did too. And as it turned out, he experienced the very same thing. One of the things that I think is really notable is that this experience occurred while I was walking by some very old sweet chestnut trees. They're hundreds of years old. And I can't help but wonder what those trees have witnessed. The drama, the beauty. And I'll insert another photo. I took a photo of a couple of the trees, the sweet chestnuts, and the footpath. And you'll see my husband in there as well. And you'll see also what an incredibly beautiful and atmospheric place it was, and I'm sure still is. Perhaps there was a guardian, someone who loved the woods, perhaps someone who lived on the island, who was really tired of tourists tramping through there. I Googled ghost stories for the Priory, found very, very little, mostly just general stories about, or general statements that the island was haunted. Please let me know if you've visited the island, especially if you experienced anything interesting. But what a beautiful place. And yeah, thank you, you wonderful B&B host and calendar. She was such a neat lady. Take care, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the story. Bye for now.